Fastest way to end up with a lawsuit when building your website. When building a website, it's not only important to have the right content and to have the right design for your website, you also have to be sure that you're being compliant with all existing laws. And two important things to be cognizant of is that it's important that you have a privacy policy listed on your website and that it can be accessed by anybody visiting your website. Because if you don't have a privacy policy, you can be fined for not having that on your website. The second thing that can cause you to have a lawsuit on your hands with your website is if your website is not compliant with current ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, or accessibility standards. So while in the United States we have laws in existence that have been on the books for at least 30 years and then subsequently applied to the internet when the internet was invented, there are also international standards that apply to websites overseas. And if you are not compliant, you can be sued and fined. And enforcement has been lax in this area for the last several years, but there has been a focus and uptick in interest in making sure that the web is accessible. Why? Because in 2020, it was found that 98% of US-based websites were not compliant. Advocates for those with disabilities are tired, and they feel that the only way to make business owners take action is to sue them, and that will make things change. And so we need to be more proactive. We need to do what needs to be done. And it's kind of sad that they had to resort to this method, to lawsuits and fines, in order to get people to be compliant. Because the reality is we need to be more cognizant of the needs of those with disabilities and help them reach our content. Because with 20% of the world being disabled, you are basically preventing your content from being accessed by a huge portion of the population. Those are potential customers for you. And by being someone who's cognizant of this issue, that takes a proactive stance on this issue and goes out of their way to make your website accessible, you will avoid a lawsuit, avoid fines, but also be doing the right thing for those with disabilities who may want to really use your content, who need your content, and you're making it not available to them. So be the change that you want to see and make the web inclusive as it was meant to be, and include those with disabilities as your customers. Presented by Designers Learn Code.